What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Talking Freight. In the last episode, we talked about how to properly communicate to vendors and suppliers of price changes to inbound freight. In this episode, we'll go over 12 ways to prevent detention time. So let's talk detention time prevention. Detention time has always been a big problem for shippers and truckers alike. Shippers see an added expense on freight costs, and truckers are forced to replan their entire day. Unfortunately, the rise of HOS, or Hours of Service regulations, and electronic logging devices, or ELDs, have forced the issue on truckers. Now, unnecessary delays will have an even more significant impact on trucks or ability to move product and make money, resulting in avoidance of individual shippers up to and including refusal to deliver freight. Fortunately, shippers that implement and follow detention time prevention strategies for inbound freight management can avoid this issue entirely. So first, let's talk about how the problems with detention time continue to plague the industry. Detention fees vary by carrier and truckers. Most shippers allow a 60-hour detention charge with a maximum fine of $600. Unfortunately, that's only after the first 2 free hours. 91% of shippers reporting receiving 2 hours of free detention time frequently. Unfortunately, 27% of shippers don't publish detention charges. Unfortunately, the issue is grimmer than meets the eye. According to a study conducted by DAT, found that a mere 3% of truckers have been paid for 90% of their detention claims. The issue has grown in importance following the ELD mandate and rollout of HOS regulations. Next, detention time prevention immediately impacts brand congeniality. Shippers that can get carrier trucks back on the road faster is the most critical factor for achieving shipper of choice status, as explained via Talking Logistics with Adrian Gonzalez. So here are 12 ways to prevent driver detention time. Shippers can work to reduce detention time for drivers by allowing a few steps to streamline dock scheduling and yard management. So number 1, pre-clear cargo and delivery instructions with the carrier. Taking a proactive step to pre-clear cargo and delivery instructions for the carrier and other supply chain parties will effectively reduce delays and ensure truckers know what to expect. Number 2, have a backup plan. Issues may occur, but each shipper has a responsibility to have a backup plan for when such problems arise. For example, utilizing a separate dock on another door to allow a delayed trucker to get freight unloaded within the 2-hour time limit. Number 3, request extended free time, if available. Some carriers and distributors may offer an extension of free time, but this is often only available to those operating with significant volumes. In other words, the lost time is a non-issue as the shipper volume of the business is enough to justify such delays. Number 4, send freight in advance and within a reasonable amount of time. The common problem with detention time goes back to poor planning, late deliveries, and even early arrival. As a result, carriers and vendors should work together to ensure freight arrives on time, not hours before or hours after the scheduled arrival. Number 5, negotiate realistic unloading times. Although most carriers and vendors have a policy of allowing up to 2 hours of free unloading and loading times, it's possible to negotiate based on the volume of freight. Ultimately, shippers that move more freight will be paying higher shipping costs, which may justify the added time. Number 6, schedule loading and unloading with detention time in mind. Dock scheduling should consider the potential cost of detention time, working to avoid bottlenecks and other issues that may arise. Number 7, stagger pickup times. As explained by Zipline Logistics, shippers should also stagger pickup times to avoid losses when all drivers leave and arrive at the dock. Ultimately, this reduces the peaks and lulls in unloading and loading. Number 8, extend facility hours. Extending the facility hours, including overnight hours and weekend hours, are an excellent way to give truckers more options for deliveries. Number 9, offer mode-specific dock doors. Both mode-specific and the number of doors can effectively help more truckers deliver freight, reducing the risk of detention time. Number 10, avoid shipping to your facility, shipping directly from vendor to consumer. Avoiding shipping freight to your facility in the first place through cross-docking and just-in-time order fulfillment strategies is an excellent way to reduce the risk of detention. Number 11, implement a drop hook program. Although carriers and truckers can be paid for lost time through detention, another solution exists: implementing a drop hook program. Essentially, this program does incur detention time costs, but such costs are significantly lower than leaving a driver sitting in your yard waiting for freight unloading and loading. Number 12, increase your staff. Increasing the volume and productivity of your team provides another means of reducing detention time by ensuring truckers can move from dock to the road faster and with less hassle. So here are my final thoughts. Reduce detention time and gain shipper of choice status. Detention time fees eat away at your profit margins and contribute to delays in replenishment and put away practices. Shippers need to implement strategies now to reduce detention time, which will build better relationships with your truckers and improve eligibility for shipper of choice status. Well, that's it for today's episode. I'll see you again next week.
Hold up, before you go, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You'll get up-to-the-minute info from Fast Freight 5, educational material from Talking Freight, and the best voices in the industry from the Freight Project podcast.